Hello and welcome to the 171st installment of the Synapse Misfire Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, joined by our other host, Jordan.
That's me, baby, and that's definitely our first take.
It's definitely first try. I never said 171th. I never said that.
Didn't happen. You're right, you didn't say it because you cut yourself off.
Fair. Actually, no, not fair because I didn't do that. I didn't do that, dude.
You would have.
I didn't freaking do that, man. Stop saying shit, man. Stop telling lies about me, bro. It's not funny. Jordan, where do we put this dang old thing?
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, Pocket Casts, and the RSS feed all linked below. We also have YouTube and Spotify, which have those video platforms where you can see us. And as always, you can contact us via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Send us your comments, questions, concerns, death threats, and most importantly, Little Kitty, Big City, news, hype, merch, etc., etc. We also have Instagram and TikTok, which Chris, you're not Chris has been doing some shorts for. So we uploaded two so far. Two
of them.
Two. One of them no one liked, and of course it was the one I liked, and then
the one I liked everyone hated.
Yeah.
The one that I was lukewarm on.
Chris made two. We were like, yeah, this one's gonna be a banger, and this other one, it's okay. And then the one that was fucking 700 views or 600 views, 70 likes.
Yeah.
The other one, 25.
Shit was wild. Like, I don't know.
Algorithms be hitting, I guess.
I don't know, man. You know what? After that, I'm glad Congress is banning TikTok.
Oh, come on, Chris. This isn't a political show. Come on.
I'm not. I'm just stating fact.
Listen, this was my thoughts, right? Grass is always greener, right? So if they ban TikTok, there's going to be a net. There's going to be a next big thing, and when there is, we can get in there. We can.
There's a power vacuum. I'm saying. Look at me right now, Jordan. Look at me.
I'm looking.
There's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Bit of a developer.
Okay.
I make TikTok 2.
TikToker.
TikTok 2. TikToker. Tick harder.
There you go.
And I'll make it, and I could release it for Android. Give me 25 minutes, I'll make the app. It's actually so easy.
Yeah.
All you have to do, so easy. All you got to do is pull videos from a server, and then display them.
Yep.
That's not that hard.
Can't be that hard. I've pulled things out of the oven before. It's got to be the same.
I've
logic.
made server calls before. I go, doo 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 doo. Hello, is this server? I need my information, please. 911? I wasn't sure where I was going to go with that.
Apparently to jail, boy.
So, yeah, we're here.
Chris, what you been up to? I've got stuff going on, but what have you been up to? Actually, before we talk about you, okay. You forgot to say what's on the plan for today. We don't have necessarily a skit or like a short thing, but like what do we got going on?
So, this has been an early one for us because we're
recording this an extra week early.
Yeah, we record this a week early because George's a bitch. I was saying last night how much easier this life would be how much easier this show would be if you didn't have a life.
I thought you were gonna say if I was dead.
No,
makes more sense.
If you didn't have a life and like things going on, it would be so much easier.
That's actually factually true.
You just gotta be more like me, bro.
Yeah, no, that's factually true. I can't be mad at that statement.
Because I'm better than everyone. So
right.
You're
too good for a life.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not because like people don't like me and I'm arrogant
and you don't get invited to things.
And I'm rude and no one invites me to things and I'm fat and I'm stupid and ugly.
I just like the idea of that devolving, and my credit's really bad, and I'm losing my job and my house.
It's really bad.
And I'm lonely, and the wife took the kids, and
the dealership repossessed my Hellcat
that I didn't even know I had. I'm going to Pat's next week. I'll talk a little bit about it, but yeah.
This guy sucks, dude.
Yeah, dude, going to Pat's East.
Quit doing stuff.
I gotta play the games. I gotta see the games. What can I do? I'm a gamer.
I hope that Little Kitty, Big City is there.
Dude, if they are there, I will rob someone of their pass, and I will phone you up and be like, Chris, get in the Accord. I want you going 120 miles an hour straight to the convention center. Meet me there. I stole someone's pass. They're dead. I killed them, and we're gonna play this game.
It'll be like fucking Hitman. I go in, and I go in with like the garrote wire, and I strangle the guy, and I put on his outfit.
But he's like my size.
Yeah, but he weighs like maybe $120. So I'm in these like really tight clothes. Hello, I'm here to see the kitty.
The little one in the big kitty.
I mean, you're little kitty, big kitty.
Oh, they couldn't make it. Fuck!
God damn it! I burst out of the clothes.
Butt ass naked.
Fuck, dude! Son of a bitch! I find the nearest child and slam them into the ground.
Oh my god. Oh, all right, we're getting off the rails.
We're getting a little crazy.
But
we're getting a little silly here today.
What do we got in the itinerary, Chris?
So we're doing it a week early because Jordan has a life and plans, and is prosperous and is a healthy, well-adjusted adult, and I'm not. So we're gonna be doing a little bit of an intro, the normal bit, and then Jordan, little writer, has a little segment
boy
that he put together about Banishers.
Yeah, Chris, you had your time in the limelight, with Mountain Monsters. I figured I'd take my shot.
If this is not a 4 to 6 page essay, I'm gonna be a little angry.
It's a single-spaced, 3-page essay.
I'm gonna give you marks off for that.
Admittedly, though, some of it's gonna be ad-libbed.
The font, to be fair, the font is 72. So.
But with that in mind, Chris, what have you been up to?
In the same vein as me developing a new TikTok replacement.
Right.
I've been doing a little coding, a little programming. Very odd for me.
Yeah.
Very odd for me, but it kind of is my job now, so.
That is true.
Or is part of it, so I kind of have to brush up on some things.
Yeah, you gotta just suck it up and do it.
And I was like, you know what? I can write things, so I wrote a little tool that I'm sure this exists, but it's a little tool, a little Python script that you put the link of a podcast like RSS Feed in, and it downloads all the episodes.
Oh, that's actually pretty handy. That's neat.
So that it's not universalized yet because I was just doing one podcast. Mm-hmm. But it will be universalized at some point. I called it Scrapey.
Scrapey? That's funny.
It scrapes data.
That's funny. That's cool.
Scraping web data with Python is so fucking easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy. It's having a little fun. Getting a little silly. Making some programs.
That's actually pretty neat. No, that is cool. It's neat that you can just kind of do that. Have the tools and skill set to just make that happen.
I did a little copying, but not a lot.
I mean, that's just called being efficient,
I'm efficient, not a plagiarist. I documented it in comments. I didn't do that. I never do that. I never comment shit.
I was always good about the comments. Back in high school, I used to get the good scores for the comments. These comments are pretty good.
I only comment if it's part of the. If it's part of the grade. I don't go to school anymore, so I don't have to, because it was usually part of the grade that you had to write comments. If it wasn't, I'm not writing any comments.
Comments just an apostrophe, right? That's what you do. You put an apostrophe.
It depends on the language. So
that's
Python, fair. A good portion of them, it's the hashtag. Mm-hmm. But or you can do string literals. So you can do double quotes 3 times, and that's it's a string literal. It's not a comment, but it doesn't run.
Yeah, because comments, you can use that to put notes, but also to comment lines out. Right?
Yeah.
So deactivate lines of code if you're testing.
And in C or Java, it's 2 slashes. Or if you want to do a multi-line comment, you can do a slash star slash. And everything between that's commented. I've been writing a little bit of. I've been brushing up on my C as well. And working with memory and pointers and shit is way fucking easier than I remember it. Mm-hmm. I remember, and anyone who's done fairly advanced C will know what I'm talking about. I remember the first time I wrote a linked list and had to do all the memory allocation and all that, and I was just sitting there brain on 100% trying to figure this out.
100% utilization.
Just tears, snot's coming out of my nose. Just going, but now, it's like I could do it in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's actually so easy. So just, learn it, man. It's not that hard. Is it useful? Not really. I mean, you need to know how the memory allocation works. But, like, are you going to use this in C? Almost certainly not. If you're working on anything higher level.
Yeah.
But, you can know it.
Still a useful skill.
I suppose, yeah. It helps you learn... Oh, God. I just inhaled my own saliva. That was great.
That's hot.
It helps you learn how programming works and how computers work. Whereas, like, Python just teaches you how to program. I could type things and make it work.
Yeah, type things to do things.
I type things and it works. Oh, great. How?
Yeah.
How is it doing what you're doing?
Yeah, that made sense.
And that's what C is all about, really, because it's a language from the fucking 70s. So
Jesus.
It's been updated a couple of times since, but... So I've been doing that, but perhaps more importantly...
Quite.
I have relapsed.
I tried to get you help.
7 Days to Die.
I tried to help. He won't accept it, though.
7 Days to Die is... I say this in all honesty. This game, I love this game. This game sucks. It is objectively, I will say, I love the game so much. I have such a hard time recommending it to people.
Well, fundamentally, you love like the idea, the premise, the concepts.
I love,
but the execution.
Exactly. Like, I love survival crafting games so much, and 7 Days to Die scratches that itch really well.
Like better than Minecraft in some ways, I've heard.
Yeah, because it is like voxel based, like Minecraft, where like, oh, everything's a block. Doot doot doot. I can make a house. But also the scale. There's a lot of things that are really impressive about the game. Mm-hmm. They have full-scale cities.
Yes, that's crazy.
Full-scale cities. Every single building and structure you can enter and do missions in. Every single structure on the map, of which, if you generate a large map, there are thousands.
That is fucking actually insane.
There are missions that you can do potentially in every single building. The skill system is great for how I play the game. Unfortunately, not everyone plays the game like I do.
Is that the one with the manuals you have to find?
Yep, you gotta find magazines.
Magazines, yep.
I will say Alpha 20 was the best that game has been. Mm-hmm. And Alpha 21, which is the current version, kind of fucked it a little bit.
Can you backdate? You should be able to, right?
Oh, yeah, you can. Mm-hmm. You can backdate all you want. Because I was thinking on playing like Alpha 16. That's when I started playing, because I was like, I remember that being so much better than it is.
Yep.
Because I was watching some gameplay footage from Alpha 16. I'm like, man, I remember this version of the game. This version of the game was great. But then I'm watching and I'm like, actually, no, this version kind of sucked.
Yeah, rose-tinted glasses and all that.
Because the whole thing was, it was definitely the worst iteration of the skill system. So like with tools, to make better tools, you had to make tools. So in theory, that makes sense. But your tools, like your crafting skill doesn't get better if you like repair tools or anything like that. And it incentivizes, you go from levels 1 to 600 with tools. And it incentivizes you to just craft thousands of clubs.
Yeah,
or thousands of axes.
I assume
or whatever.
they're cheap to make and you get XP.
They're super cheap to make. And those skills transfer up, basically. So like, oh, now I have a level 300 stone axe. Now when I make a steel axe, it's going to be level 300.
Yeah.
Or like when I have, a level 300 wooden club, when I have a metal baseball bat, it's going to be level 300. Right. But that spam crafting system is stupid.
Yeah, it's a little eh.
And the system in Alpha 20 made so much more sense, where you just bought a skill. And instead of going from 1 to 600, it went from 1 to 6. And if you had enough skill points, you could put it into a skill. Boom. You can
Maxed
make
out.
a new axe, a better one.
Right.
Now, Alpha 21, you have to go looting, and you find magazines, which in theory kind of makes sense. Like, if you're thinking about this from a realistic perspective, I guess.
Right.
But like, it's just, how are you going to have a skill system and then try to add realism to it?
Yeah, like you've said before in some of this, you gotta have the foundation. So, like, are you going realistic or are you going arcadey? And then you need to stick with that.
Exactly.
You know? So if you have arcadey, then okay, do the skill tree. If you're going realistic, it should have been like that.
Because the skill tree is still there.
It's just the manuals probably activate it, I'm assuming.
It's
rather than points.
The skill points that you get go toward your stats in a way that, like, it affects how certain weapons act, and it affects how your character is. So, like, and it affects how you make certain things. So, like, if you wanted to make food more efficiently, use less ingredients, have it take less time, whatever, you can get that perk and say, like, okay, now I have level 1 of Master Chef, or whatever they called the perk.
Master Chef. Copywritten for the TV show.
I don't think it's Master Chef, but that's
it's
all I
Masturbator.
can think of. I have level 1 of Master Chef, so I can, instead of using 5 meat to make 1 meat somehow, it's going to take me 4 meat to make 1 meat.
It's
then
inflation.
If I level up, I can make me 3 meat to make 1 meat. And eventually, maybe it'll be 1 meat to make 1 meat.
Yeah, the cost to meat ratio is...
The meat to meat ratio is kind of, it fixes it a little bit. You can level up something like Miner 69er. That's what the skill's called. And you are more efficient with breaking things. They used to have a skill called Sexual Tyrannosaurus. They got rid of that one, but it was like a stamina skill. So you would use less stamina.
There you go.
But not anymore. What I will say, though, is the magazine crafting is better in the aspect that, like, each kind of skill will have, like, 50, 75, 100 magazines. They're really easy to come by. And the skills that you get influence what magazines you find. So, like, if you have the Grease Monkey perks, you'll find more vehicle-based magazines. So once you have enough magazines, it just unlocks a recipe. You don't have to either get a skill for it or search for a book that has that recipe in it.
Yeah, that's okay. That makes sense.
That's how previous alphas were like, you had to, do you want to make a mini bike? Good luck, fucko. You gotta find a magazine. You gotta find an extremely rare book that teaches you the schematic. Do you want to make a workbench so you can actually make that bike? Good luck, fucko.
Another
you gotta
book.
find a book that teaches you how to make a workbench.
Yeah. I could see why that would be annoying.
That shit was ridiculous. So, in this iteration of the game, the skill system, it's okay. I have modded the game to add the fucking empty jars back, though.
Yeah, the water thing.
Because that was ridiculous.
That's fucking stupid, yeah.
Like, if I was in a survival situation, because they're obviously trying to make it more realistic with the magazine learning.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if you were in an apocalypse, you couldn't just,
Google.com.
how do I make stone axe? Let's watch a YouTube tutorial. You can't do that in the apocalypse. What you can do is find, like, a little book that says,
National Geographic or some shit.
Now I can make this thing better because I learned what was in the book.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But you know what doesn't fucking make sense, Jordan?
What?
You know what doesn't make sense?
What?
Having water in a jar, drinking that water, and having the jar disappear.
Oh, you don't eat the jar too? No?
No, you can eat broken glass, though. It's a good way to cure infections. Because it kills you almost instantly.
I was gonna ask. I thought you were being legit, like that was a mechanic. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's they also added, like, they changed the spawn rates for things that reduce infections. So before, after a while, like after a few days, you would be absolutely lousy with antibiotics. You would have so many, and that cures infection like 100%, I think. But now it's, and you would find honey earlier than that, which cures like a certain percentage of infection. And now the spawn rate for honey is super rare, and you find antibiotics almost never.
Wow.
Which is kind of ridiculous because you can get infected really easily.
Like a single scratch, basically.
Yeah. So like every time a zombie hits you, it's a chance to get you that you get infected. So what I did, I was like, I had an infection and a concussion because I had a little scrape with some zombies. I got a little overzealous. I got a little too big for my britches.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I had to pull the old kablooey on them. I alerted the whole goddamn neighborhood. And
rang the dinner bell.
I had to pull out the mouse-catool.
Yeah.
And they were a little upset with me. So I had a little scrape with them, and then my infection kept advancing, and I kept doing missions for the trader because I'm like, give me some fucking pills, dude. Give me some antibiotics. He wouldn't do it. He didn't have honey in his inventory because he's a dumbass weapons trader and not a medicine trader or food trader.
Right.
So I was like, my infection's at like 29%, and it's nighttime. I'm just going to go work outside at night and then let the chips fall where they may. And then the zombies were just not interested in killing me, apparently. So I'm like, all right, back inside I go to my broken glass stash. You can munch down on it, but before you do, a giant text box comes up that says, eating broken glass will cause internal bleeding. And in big red letters, it says, it will kill you.
That's funny.
And you have to click OK. And your character just eats broken glass. And the little, a little thing at the bottom of the screen shows up that says, you're bleeding internally. You better find a hospital soon. And then you die almost instantly.
That's crazy.
So then I died in the comfort of my own home after eating broken glass. Respawned, grabbed my stuff. No more infection. No more concussion.
Yeah, there you go.
Did pretty well for myself, I think. That game, it's so fun. But, I mean this when I say it. I really do not recommend buying it. If it's on sale, if you can get it for, $10 or, $12, maybe it's worth your time. If you're really into survival crafting. If not, I would buy something better.
Like Sons of the Forest.
Sons of the Forest, that's one I can wholeheartedly recommend. That game's fucking fun. And it's good.
Yeah.
It's a much better put-together game. And it's much more linear. So it has a kind of there's set story beats you're supposed to go through.
Yeah. Yeah, I may pick it up. It's on sale right now for the spring sale for I think $21. And
$21? Yeah, that's worth.
With the 1.0 patch, they didn't make it deck verified, but it runs at 40 frames on low for the most part. With I think they said occasional dips, but that's fine for me. So I might even do a little cross-play with that. We'll see.
Ooh.
Because I've been doing that with most of the games. Just play them on PC, then Steam Deck, and vice versa.
That shit is fun, man. Yeah. Video games. What about you, Jordan?
I have been chilling, man. I've been trying to gear up for PAX. I've been trying to finish Banishers in time for Alone in the Dark next week.
We got the PAX president over here.
Presidential Pats man over here. Call me Pats man, but not Pac Man. That's copywritten too.
More like Miss Pax Man, idiot.
Miss Pats man. Okay.
Yeah,
it's his wife.
Like Miss Pac-Man.
I gotcha. I'm married to him.
Which was just Pac-Man in drag. It's just Pac-Man it was just Pac-Man with lipstick on.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that is exactly what it was. But, so I was trying to beat Banishers in time for PAX because Wednesday before PAX, the Alone in the Dark reboot comes out. So that's going to be hopefully what I'm playing for a while now. By the time this goes out. But then, Chris.
I know.
I used to go to the gym a good bit with our old boss. And I say old, not as an age classification.
Dude's
just as a timeline.
Guy's like 500 years old.
He's a fucking eldritch god. No, but as a timeline signifier. So, I used to go with him a lot, and then, things just got busy. Things happened in life. Stopped going. And then I started going a little bit again, and then fell off again, and it's just been back and forth. But, Friday, I was like, we're going to go. I don't give a shit. We're going. So we go Friday, drive to the gym. We hit leads. I'm like, man, this sucks because leads always sucks. We haven't hit it in probably fucking a year. It's been so long since we've done leads. And, just going through the motions there. I leave. I start driving, and I look down, and I'm like, oh, come on, man. My fucking check engine light is on. I'm like, God damn it. So,
fuck, dude.
I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So I'm like, all right, car's driving fine. That's the only good thing. Is like, usually when you get a check engine light and the car started and the car's driving, like, it's probably not that big of a deal.
It's probably an emissions issue.
Right. Like, if it starts sputtering and stalling, then okay, I'll be worried. But I'm like, all right, whatever. I drive it home. I fucking park it. I grab my scanner. I scan it. It's a camshaft position sensor failure. So I'm like, oh, great. So I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, I'm probably going to have to take it in. But I'm like, let me do a little research. I look. I'm like, all right, where's the sensor? Oh, it's right on top. Like, super fucking easy to get to. So I'm like, all right, no big deal. I start looking. I'm like, all right, AutoZone's got the part, $50 for the sensor. It's driving fine, so therefore it's probably intermittent. I just hadn't cleared it yet in case I brought it in. That way they could see the code fresh or whatever. So I'm like, all right, I'll try and get the sensor. But as you know, I don't think I've ever said this on the mic before, but you've seen this before. I can't open the hood on that car solo. I need two fucking people to do it because the latch is rusty and gross. So let's see was going to go to work late and bring me to go get the sensor. And before that, I was like, hey, help me pop the hood. That way you can just drop me off. I'll swap it out and then whatever. So she pops the hood ahead of time, and I look just to make sure the sensor's there, because how many times have I said, yeah, YouTube shows on my car it's here, but I have the California model, so it's fucking here. Yep. So I'm like, let me make sure this thing's actually accessible. And sure enough, it's right there on top. But then I look, and I'm like, damn, the wires are, like, falling apart going to the sensor. Like, the actual, specifically, there's an orange wire on there, like pin 1, basically. It has, like, 4 pubes holding it together. I'm like, all right, fuck.
On, like, the sensor itself, or is it directly from the harness, you mean?
Directly from the harness.
Nice.
So I pull the plug off, I inspect it, I'm like, yeah, okay, that wire could very well be intermittently making connection, and that's why the code came up in the first place, and that's why it now runs fine. So I just put some electrical tape around it for now, and I bought this kit on AutoZone's website that's supposed to be delivered, like, now, where it's the plug, it's long wires, like maybe, I don't know, 2 feet long, and then crimp terminals,
right,
both female ends or whatever. So what you do is obviously you cut the harness back, slide the wires in, crush it, put the other wires in, crush it. So that's what I'm going to do. That's my little project for when I get home. And hopefully that fits it. I'll clear the code. Yeah. That'll fix it. And I'll call it a day. But I'm like, dude, what the fuck, man? It's always something.
What the fuck, man?
And I can see where the wires were rubbing. They're rubbing on a wire loom on a different harness. So fun times. So I'm probably going to zip tie that out of the way just so that doesn't happen again. But hopefully that's the fix. I really hope that's it, because I need to not have to buy a car or do expensive work.
You're going to plug in this sensor, and then somehow it's going to, like, short something, and the whole car's going to blow up.
That would be unfortunate.
It would be. But, I mean, then there would be no more Jordans, so
it's a win.
Who really wins here?
It's a win for the world. Yeah.
It's
the whole
me.
world, not just you.
I feel like everyone, I think everyone would be better off, I would be a lot happier, because now I would be able to find a co-host that doesn't have a life.
Craigslist must have no life.
Must have. Well, I already got the perfect guy, Alex.
Yeah.
I forgot what on mic. Almost said his full name.
I thought so. I
almost said it.
That's good, because I almost said his social security. So
I almost said his full driver's license number and his address and the kind of car that he drives, his license plate number.
Yeah.
And the VIN number of the car.
And that AirTag I slipped into his ass that's tracking him
that
at
he
all
still
times.
hasn't found.
I was gonna put that up on
He's
screen
wondering.
too.
He was like, something's up there, man.
He's used to something being up there, though.
I don't know. I feel like something other than what's normally up there is up there.
That AirTag was remarkably easy to get up his ass.
It's just...
I just said, hey, can you grab that? And then I just went... I fucking fastballed it in.
It's like this.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I just fastballed it right into his sphincter. And it's been stuck there ever since. No, I track his every movement.
What the fuck, man?
So that's the car woes.
We are not normal.
No, we're not. That's the car woes that I've been having. But hopefully that'll be fixed.
Very exciting.
Letsy's driving to Pat's anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. And we got some other trips. There's one I'm not going to talk about that you can see on there, Chris, for your eyes only. The secret one. It's secret sauce.
You'll find out.
You will find out.
You'll find out. Hey, you know what the secret for this one's going to be? The secret for this one is when we're done with the trip, I'm going to edit the footage together and then upload it within a timely manner.
No way.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wait, dude. Yeah, that'll be the secret. So yeah, there's a trip there, but we're going. You and I and some friends are all going to Maine.
Yes.
So we booked all of our trips for the year, Lexi and I, because we booked everything way ahead. So we're all going to Maine for Labor Day, kind of like we did last year when we talked about our Vermont trip.
Yeah, we went to Vermont.
Yep. And Lexi and I were obviously going to Pat's. We have that trip there that we can't talk about, and then I'm taking my first ever week-long vacation to fucking Virginia, dude.
Nice, dude.
Fucking Virginia, yeah. That's sometime in the summer. It's really unfortunate that I'm under 25, though, because renting the car cost almost as much as the resort, but that's okay.
Fucking Christ, man.
This car rental for a Corolla, mind you, was like $700.
Granted,
it's a week and it's unlimited miles, so it's really, in the grand scheme of things, like not terrible.
Fine. I mean, but still.
But yeah.
I mean, I've said that if I went back to the Virginia specifically, I was gonna fly.
Yeah, we thought about
I've
flying.
done that drive a few times. It sucks.
Yeah, no, it's gonna suck. She's done it. She did it for like 5 years straight with her family before we were like living together. And
Damn,
stuff.
that's a really long drive. 5 years straight.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not really looking forward to the drive. It should be good. We're gonna leave at 3 a.m. and then we should be there by about 6 or 7 p.m.
Exciting.
So that'll be fun. But yeah, we rented the car for that. We looked into flying because we were like, what if we fly down there and then rent a car? But the flights were the same as the rent a car, so it'd be $800 to fly, $800 to rent, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
That was before we modified some of the dates and stuff. So it actually probably would have been like $500 to fly, $600 to rent. So it's just added cost. I'm like, we're gonna rent anyway. And then
the rental car is a given.
Yeah, yeah. The rental cars are given unless we want to Uber everywhere, which is dumb. And then there's also the part,
which also is going to cost a shitload of money.
Yeah, there's also the part where like if we have a rental, we have to return it at a certain time. So if we have to return it in Virginia, we have to correspond that with flight times. Like if our flight's at 10 a.m. or 8 a.m., like we got to have the it's just a pain in the ass. So we're just gonna drive. Yeah, it what it is. But yeah, so that's all the trips. That's all the trips I'm doing. So I'm very excited for that. Most importantly, that and hopefully it fits in the car.
I'm gonna do a solo trip. I'm gonna go out into the middle of nowhere and conduct some kind of demonic ritual
to bring back a better host than me.
To bring back Jordan with no social life.
Bro's gonna bring me back to like when I was 14. You're going to pull 14-year-old me in here.
To be fair,
I'm going to argue about phones with you all day.
I think a 14-year-old Jordan would be so insufferable as me, a 22-year-old man.
Yeah.
But I think a 14-year-old Jordan and a 14-year-old Chris, I mean, this podcast would be insufferable. But we might get along.
Maybe. But think about it. When we met, I was, 15 going on 16 or something like that? We were both 15 going on 16?
Something like that.
And we didn't quite jive in the early days, so.
No, because I feel like...
I was sensy.
You didn't get the vision. You didn't get it.
Oh. I had like a second coming of Christ, and I was like, I get it.
I'd be like, hey, look at this bitch.
Like, no, I'm not.
Fuck you, dude.
Dude, fuck you,
Tubby,
bro. You fat loser. You
fat idiot. Dude, I freaking hate you, dude.
You're such a fucking dick.
What the fuck, man?
Fucking loser.
Stupid idiot. Fat bitch.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went. That was like our early interactions, to be honest.
I feel like we play up how much we disliked each other.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. It was just kind of like...
I feel
just
like
a glare, like, okay. Like,
this fucking guy.
Fucking this guy's problem.
What's this guy's issue?
No, you don't even realize I had voodoo dolls and shit at the house.
Oh,
it was a big voodoo doll.
You got my voodoo doll? You should stroke it a little bit.
Things are really that bad, huh? Oh my god. That was so quick and off the cuff.
You ever seen that? The post that the guy said, whoever got my voodoo doll, just stroke it a little bit.
No. I have not. No, that's funny.
I must travel in different circles.
Listen, I'll do you one favor, bro. All right, one favor.
I'll give you one little.
I'll flick the beat.
One little, just a quick one though.
Yeah.
Just
It's like I'm doing. It's like I'm sliding up the audio on the mixer. Just.
well,
Yeah, it's a very short throw. Oh man, but
we're off the fucking rails today.
yeah, well that's what happens when it's an early episode where we're out of our cadence, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the trips I got planned. I'm really looking forward to them. I just like I'm not too happy with like just day-to-day goings-ons, and I'm just excited to get the fuck away because like I don't know. Things just aren't great. Like I'm trying to say this in a way that doesn't like harm relationships or alarm people. So I'm just trying to get out there, see the world, explore. Who the fuck knows? Maybe I'll finally do what I want and move to North Carolina once Leslie finishes her schooling and I finish mine.
I'm gonna drive to the Grand Canyon this summer.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, you're gonna drive across the country?
All the way to the Grand Canyon, and I'm gonna drive my Accord right into the Grand Canyon.
Ask me how I know that's a 50-hour drive.
Definitely not because I've suggested legitimately that we drive to the Grand Canyon in an RV one time.
That actually isn't why I know.
Really?
Bud Light Boy's girlfriend went there recently, and
she did.
I wasn't thinking of like where it was, and I was like, and he said something like, "Oh, she'll be back at this time." I said, "Oh, did she drive?" And then he just looked at me like stupefied, and I was like,
"No,
where?" I was
you
like,
fucking idiot.
And he was like, "To Arizona," and I was like, "Oh, I forgot that's where it was."
Yeah.
I don't know why I was thinking it was closer to us, but yeah. So then we looked it up because we were laughing. We were like, "I wonder how
Jesus.
far that really is." It's like 49 hours or 50 hours.
Yeah, I wanted to go to.
You couldn't even beat Red Dead on the drive. I'm just saying, you couldn't.
I wanted to go to like Moab, like in Utah, and I looked
mother
it up,
of all
and
bombs?
it's like a 39-hour drive or something. Like I could do that.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah, you probably could.
That's probably fine. I want to do a cross-country drive at least once in my life. I want to do a cannonball run, not like in the speed
Not competing,
fashion.
yeah.
Not to like break a record because I'm not trying to get arrested. But because the average speed you need to go now is like 125, and on average. So I'm not doing that, but I would like to do that route at least once in my life. But I know the drive back will be terrible.
So what you do is you rent a car that you can drop off on the other side of the country.
And then I fly back.
And you fly back, yeah. Could do that.
Yeah, I mean, I could.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, Jordan, you and I, we should get an RV.
Fucking RV thing
We
again?
should drive to the Grand Canyon in this RV. It'll be an adventure. It'll be this broke dick piece of shit RV. And
Typical fashion for us.
It breaks down every 200 miles.
That's part of the charm, yeah.
Hang on to get
Pour some water in
my
there.
damn motor's coming out. I gotta
Get the duct tape again.
Jordan, put a jack under the oil pan. We're gonna just jack this bitch up. There's a big dent in the oil pan. We just don't need more oil anymore.
As far as I'm concerned, that just takes up volume.
It's just less oil we need now.
Yeah, it just takes
Pretty
up some
easy. Hey, Jordan, we need a new motor mount. Get some of the socks that we had back there. We'll put some socks there to absorb the shock, and then we'll tie it up with zip ties.
Yeah, if we ever get to the point where I don't need to work a 9 to 5 and we can do the podcast full time, I will do anything like that. I will happily do that. That would be infinitely better
If
than
we do this full
anything.
time, I will walk across the country. I will walk 3,500 miles.
And I would walk that. Huh. Yeah. Copywritten right there. We just lost all of our funding.
That's it. We just got killed.
No, not that
You've
lucky.
killed us, Jordan.
We're not that lucky. Oh, there's the Moab. I hear it now.
You've killed us. What's that?
What is it today with us talking about getting blown up?
I feel
Off
like
mic, we said this for like 40
there's
minutes.
been a lot of blowing up talk.
A lot of blowing talk.
A lot of blowing up talk. A lot of like shot in the head talk. A lot of
That is a funny skit, though. We should do it.
that is
Teaser.
really funny. Someone fund us.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, man, we should go into marketing or something. Imagine the commercials we could write.
Dude. It'd be like a worse version of Cocomelon with the hypercuts. It would just be hypercuts of skits all fucking day.
It'd be
No correlation to the product at all.
The commercials would be edited like a YouTube poop.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm fucked. Oh, this
Oh my god.
shit. Dinner. No. Mama Luigi. And then just like an insurance company logo.
And then at the very end, the last 3 seconds, Liberty.
Just, hi, I'm fuck. Dinner. Mama Luigi. Liberty.
And the fucking emo just goes,
Hire us, dude. I think there's not enough Gen Z representation in advertising firms.
Yeah, you would definitely phase
Because
out all your old customers, but you'd get so many new ones.
Every ad that's written to appeal to Gen Z was written by a 95-year-old man.
Are you a woker on a TikToker?
What up, gamers? Who up tickin' they talk?
Who up playing they Fort of Night?
Who up wonkin' they willy?
Have y'all ever got Victory Royale chicken dinners? I know I have. I'm a real patient for this medicine that you should take.
Hi, I'm a pharmaceutical executive. You need to buy our painkillers. That would be a real Victory Royale. Do. This is why you should choose. Is that a chug splash? No, it's OxyContin.
Who needs to res you when you got OxyContin?
Ask your doctor about these antidepressants today. Oh my god. That surely should give you a golden scar.
There's someone Southwest 330. Oh my god.
Hit the gritty into our car dealership today.
Gritty on over to Gary's Great Emporium.
Gritty on over to Gary's Toyota, where you can get a Toyota. Victory Royale.
Toyota Crown Royale. And then the fucking banner pops up and he does the doo-doo-doo-doo, like you were saying. Oh,
whoa,
my
is
God.
that Fortnite from Fortnite? It's just a JPEG of the default player from Fortnite.
He's like,
Yo, is that Fortnite from Fortnite?
you know what my
Hire
favorite,
us, dude. I'm telling you.
You know what my favorite part about this entire little bit here is our general audience that we know listens, the people we know, are not going to find that funny because they're too old and stupid to know what we're talking about.
It's old and stupid.
Yeah, I'm calling them out. I got to get a reaction out of them somehow. Because I know they checked out once we started saying Gwitty and Fortnite. So they definitely mentally checked out. Now I got their attention, I bet. I'm doing a little metagaming here, you know what I'm saying?
So ridiculous.
On my Meta Quest Pro. I do not have a Quest Pro, actually.
On my Meta Quest Pro. Christ.
All right, Chris, can I do my thing?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Oh, this is going to be such a stark contrast because this was supposed to be such a serious talk. This is Banisher's thing. It's supposed to be a very, engrossing discussion. And I don't know if I can do it anymore, man.
We could do more commercials. We could do right foot creep your way onto your local Geico office.
Step on that fucking blizzard over there. All right. That all you got, Chris, for your side of the tale?
Maybe. I might have a little comment later on. We'll see.
Yeah, comments are fine.
Let's recenter. Let's do a little breathing ritual. Let's like a focusing. Focusing.
A little sip of blueberry water. Or blue raspberry water, rather.
Blue raspberry water?
Yeah, it's a Crystal Light packet. Well, it's a squeezy.
You and your fucking squeezy.
Don't start. We just did a breathing exercise. Don't
All right,
start.
hang on. Let me get one. Okay, no more squeezies. It's segment time. It's time to get serious. Hello, I'm Chris, your host with NPR today. And today we're going to be talking about Banisher. What the fuck is this game called? Banishers.
Ghosts of New Eden.
We're going to be talking about Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden today. Joining us today is Jordan, and he has a segment that we're going to be reading today. Take it away, Jordan.
All right, Chris. Have I told you that Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden is the kind of experience that I come across once, maybe twice a year, if I'm lucky.
Okay.
If at all, I even come across it, that is. It's a game that you kind of hear about, like in my case, a couple months before release, and you sort of just get enraptured with the idea of the game, what it could be, right? And then, when it releases, you actually get enraptured by the experience.
That's rare. That's really rare.
It's pretty damn rare. So, Banishers is quite the fucking experience. And I'm going to tell you why. So, first of all, let me just preface by saying what it is. Banishers is a story-driven action RPG developed by Don't Nod and published by Focused Entertainment. Now, I do want to specify that because I did say last time that I think Focus developed it. They're a publisher, not a developer.
I think Focus also published SnowRunner.
Yes, they do. And the new one, Expeditions, and the other one.
Yeah, but it's made by Saber Interactive.
Yes. So Don't Nod developed, Focus Home Entertainment is the ones who actually published. Now, I will say, Don't Nod is one of my favorite developers, and Focus is one of my favorite publishers. I know they only publish, so like how much influence do they really have, but they're pretty good with the games they release. They're pretty good. So I had high expectations, knowing those two were coming together to make something, right? For those who don't know, Don't Nod is an independent developer located in both Paris and Montreal. They're most well known for their hit episodic story game Life is Strange and its sequels and spin-offs. That's kind of what they're most well known for. But they've also made a lot of other games, such as Vampire, which is what Banishers draws the most inspiration from, and their most recent game prior to Banishers, Jusant, which is an action-adventure puzzle platformer, which was only released back in October.
Holy shit, I forgot about Vampire. Vampire.
I think it's pronounced Vampire. I didn't actually fact-check that, but everyone I've heard says Vampire.
Well, I always figure Vampire with a Y for some reason or another.
Maybe. I am actually going to be replaying that at some point, but that's for another story.
I played it the first time. Who knows?
It's decent. So anyway, I've played a majority of their games, and I thoroughly enjoy most of them and commend them for their recent releases not only being good, but diversifying the studio's portfolio, because they did a lot of episodic stuff. And then now they have things like Vampire, Banishers, they got Jusant, all very drastically different games, all centered around storytelling, which is fair, right? That's what they do well, but they have different formulas to do that. And they've really diversified and genuinely impressed me as just a gamer. Like, you see a game, you're like, that game looks good, and then their name appears, and you're like, okay, shit, cool.
It's like a Rockstar, like when you see Rockstar, you're like, all right, I know this isn't going to be half-assed.
Exactly, yeah. So I have a ton of faith in them, is basically the whole reason I'm bringing this up. Now, back to the topic at hand, the reason I even bring any of this up in the first place, because I recently completed Banishers on PC and Steam Deck. I went a little bit back and forth playing on PC. I would cast to the Steam Deck, or I'd take it to work and play natively. And I clocked it in at about 45.5 hours, and it was quite a remarkable 45.5 hours, I will say. You're going to hear me draw a lot of comparisons between this game and other mainstream AAAs. I mean, it's already happened, talking about like Rockstar, Red Dead, right? It's going to happen. But keep in mind, this is not a AAA game. This is not a $200 million production done by hundreds plus people. But I still would put it up there at the same caliber. It is quite good. So let me set the scene for the game. I'm just going to do a little thing on the prologue. You're going to notice that this is a little bit of like a long prologue speech, but that's for good reason. I'm not going to spoil anything beyond the prologue, so you don't have to worry about that, Chris, because I know you talked about maybe wanting to play it. But let me set the scene for you. Banishers opens with our characters, Red McWraith, known as Rorid. He's Scottish, Banisher, and his lover and Banisher mentor, Anteo Duarte, who's Cuban, on their way to the town of New Eden in New England. Upon entering that town, you're introduced as the player, as well as them, to various characters, including a friend of the couple who is a fellow Banisher, Charles Davenport. Charles is actually revealed to be the one who invited them here in hopes of getting assistance curing a curse, a new, powerful curse. Not just your ordinary single Banisher job. He needed to call the reinforcements.
He needed to bring in the troops. Dude.
Exactly. Now, as the prologue sort of progresses, you're obviously introduced to the mechanics of the game, including the haunting cases, which is essentially the major side quest system that is actually quite important for a variety of reasons that I'll get into. And, of course, the combat, little things like that, skill tree. You get just a little bit of everything. It's meant to teach you and also introduce you slowly but surely into this world. Basically, after doing a couple things, getting to know some characters, solving your first haunting case, which is very prologue-y and basic, just to get you down with the mechanics, you are basically being drip-fed little character plot points, like a little bit about what Red's about, a little bit what Antea's about, and then you get the interaction between the characters, and they sort of talk, and you get this emotion and this diversity between all these characters. And most importantly, one of the things you can kind of take away from this prologue is that you realize Red is more of like a off-the-cuff, like, not a great decision maker. He just kind of goes with the flow. And Antea is sort of like the brains of the operation. He's the brawn, she's the brains. She's also pretty damn powerful, so I say she was the bronze too. But he's like all brawn, basically. And this is revealed when Red and Antea, set out to investigate the curse the following day, and they rest in an old schoolhouse. And one of the big things that happens here is, as they're sharing this information, Antea makes Red promise. You're not going to go off the cuff. This is something we don't know what we're getting into.
By the book.
You need to stick by the book. You need to keep your head clear, keep it cool. Like, you gotta be here for me. Like, you can't let me down because we could die. Like, this could cost us our lives. That's a big thing, right?
And I sense something is about to happen.
And sure enough, while resting up, he promises he'll let her take the lead. He'll follow and he'll keep his head clear. And they set off and they take a nap, take a little sleep. And Red is kind of awoken in the middle of the night, finding that Antea's gone. And immediately, he jumps ahead and goes, she must have went without me because she doesn't trust me. I gotta go help her, right? So he goes and he investigates. He can't find her anywhere. He's like, what the hell's going on? And this decision may, in fact, set the couple's fate in stone when he confronts the manifestation of the curse, a powerful specter known as a nightmare, something he has never seen before in his entire life. As anticipated, during this confrontation, Red gets his ass kicked. And while on the edge of a cliff being dangled and threatened to be killed, Antea comes in to save the day. She's like, nah, I got this. I've seen this thing. I'm going to kick your ass, Ghost. The Ghost even gives her an offer to basically help the Ghost. She'll let them both live. She goes, her exact words are, I won't bargain with no Ghost.
Fuck you, Ghost.
And so she goes, I'm going to banish you. And then she gets got. She gets killed instantaneously. And this is all right before Red's eyes. He's being basically choked over a cliff edge. She gets speared by like a spectral spear and starts bleeding out in front of him. And the Nightmare, who was originally just going to kind of fucking pop his head like a cork, is like, you know what? I'm an evil demon. I derive pleasure from the suffering of others. So it actually feels empowered now that it has literally in its hands someone suffering and whimpering and crying. So it makes one very big mistake. The Nightmare taunts Red, stating, will you come to her aid now when all is lost? If so, I'll be waiting. And drops him off the cliff. Now, this is quite literally the biggest mistake the Nightmare could have made, depending on the player's actions. Because he is coming. And she is waiting.
He's coming?
He's coming. So this entire prologue is about an hour or so. Now, the reason I bring that up is this is how you kill a character and make the player even show a semblance of care or even make it a little bit impactful. Because sure, are you like, oh my god? No. It's no 50-hour Red Dead 2 Arthur Morgan sort of bit where you're like, holy shit. But you get a solid hour with this character just to know enough to be like, I like this character. It's a really cool lady, and they like each other, and their connection's good, and their acting and performance is good, and she's dead.
This is how you do it, Ubisoft.
That's how you do it.
It's not, hey, this is your best friend of 15 years. Okay, you've known them for 32 frames? Okay, they just got shot in the head.
And they're dead.
And now that's your mission.
And now you're mad.
You're going to avenge your friend. This character you did not give a fuck about because we didn't explain who they are. And we didn't explain your relationship to them.
Exactly. So that is how you kill a character off. Now, the remainder of the game is all about navigating the world accompanied by Antea's ghost in order to get back to New Eden, end the nightmare, and recover her body in order to either resurrect her or allow her to ascend, basically pass her spirit on. And this is the player's decision. This is where the decision-making system comes in. I've talked about this before where you can choose to ascend her, which requires that you just basically play through the game, get to her body, and send her off. Or you can essentially say, nope, we're bringing you back, and you have to sacrifice villagers throughout the haunting cases. So this is where the haunting cases become very important. mind you, and I'll get into that a little bit. So this decision that you make is kind of like a mutual agreed decision, and there's different consequences for how you approach things. So basically, that's the plot of the game, is to do that. That is your end goal. Now, the actual gameplay that you play is essentially most similar to that of like 2018's God of War. It's an over-the-shoulder third-person action RPG that's relatively light in terms of the actual RPG mechanics. The combat controls are literally one-for-one the same as God of War, and I don't say that to be reductive in any way. It's just that God of War has really good controls.
That's fucking high praise. To compare the combat system to, like, you know, to newer the God of War remasters or reboots were that's fucking high
and I
praise.
Specifically say 2018's because of the fact that Ragnarok doubles up on combat and adds a lot of subsystems. So it's literally like if I blindfolded you and said fight in this game, you could fight in Banishers using the God of War combat layout. Is it as solid as I've talked about before? It's not quite as punchy and impactful. It's a little more floaty. But again,
is it like an open world like RPG type thing?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not quite open where it's like millions of side quests all over the place. There's plenty of side quests and stuff that come up, but it's more like what I would consider a large scale linear story with some decision making. And facets of the world become open as you get new abilities. Think of, I guess, the most apt comparison I could probably draw to it, I would think, is like God of War, where you have this big map, but then like you might see a cliff, but you need an ability to like grapple to the cliff and shit like that. Because the side content was very much like you don't have to do this exactly
kind of thing. Like you're not missing a ton of the game, in terms of like story elements if you don't play the side stuff.
Yeah. Now I will say, and I'll get into that when I get to the haunting cases specifically. That is one of the things that I think this game does better than almost any game I've played or can recollect in recent history, is when it comes to side content and purposes for doing it. But as you navigate the world, basically you're doing the usual stuff. You're taking on main quests, a couple side activities, and then most importantly, those haunting cases. Now, one of the best parts about the game was honestly the sheer beauty and uniqueness of the world. Like, it's not very often that I'm sucked into a game world and I'm like, holy shit, like, this feels unique, and I want to like really see what's going on in this world in this time period, even though it's, you know, not a real place per se. Obviously, you have the art style. That sells it. That's awesome. But the lore is vast, man. The lore is quite vast. And in my experience and understanding, and I'm no loreologist, I'm not, you know, cross-referencing the archives and looking for plot holes. It seems pretty well put together. Like the mold that holds this whole thing together, there's not anything that I was like, wait a minute, but you said this earlier. I guess like the only thing that comes to mind in regards to like the plot and like things around banishers is like they talk about banishers, how they're not supposed to ascend spirits, they're supposed to banish spirits, but then like there's no repercussion for just ascending every spirit that I noticed. Like there's no one who's like, why would you do that? Like, so why wouldn't you do that? It's just weird.
Is banishers like sending it to hell?
Kind of. So,
or is it like a soul eater kind of thing where it's like nothing after that?
Let's put it this way. So the way that the banishing and ascension works is at the end, the banisher motto is life to the living, death to the dead, right? So you get the decision to banish. When you banish, you have bane rings. They're like just fiery rings on the character's hand. And what he'll do is he'll say, there is no one who wants you here anymore. And he'll give like a monologue that's very like aggressive. And then he'll grab their like, soul essentially, and they'll disintegrate in his hand. And it's super aggressive. They're screaming in agony, and they pass. That's it. They're gone. Ascension is a lot more heavenly, where it's like if your spirit was here, Chris, and I'm like, hey, everything's gonna be okay now that you're gone. You've done what you had to do. Pass on. And then he'll like open his hand up, and they'll just kind of fade away. So it's much more, I guess, heaven and helly, but they never specifically say like this will bring them to hell, because in this world there is really no heaven and hell per se.
Right. Is there like a do they really gear you up to hate the ghosts, other than like obviously the demon that kills your wife or whatever?
Yeah.
You hate that guy.
So,
but like, they're like all ghosts. These guys suck.
So we'll get there. That's where things get. This is where the game does something remarkable.
I don't know. Jumping ahead.
So, no, you're good.
Jumping the gun here.
So yeah, just like the general stuff that like you would do in any other game. There's a lot of this, but I did enjoy it personally. The notes you collect and stuff that you have to read. There's a good amount of them, but they're all pretty good. The events that the characters talk about, all that stuff. It just works great together to set this tone of despair and round out your experience in this world and like understanding of the world. It almost reminds me, honestly, of The Witcher. But if people actually liked Witcher. So the difference there is like in The Witcher, for the most part, unless you play a certain way, but especially in the books and stuff, from what I've heard, people usually look at Witchers as like monsters, mutants, freaks, and they're like, "What the fuck are you? Get the fuck out of here! I don't want to do business with you." It's like a subclass of people, if they even consider them people at all. Banishers are a little different. They can grow to hate you for your actions, but generally speaking, if there's a curse, like when you show up, everyone's like, "Oh my god, the Banishers are here! The curse is going to be lifted!"
Okay, so it's not like people don't hate Banishers. They can hate you though.
Yeah.
It's not like where people just hate Witchers because they're like, this mutant fuck with yellow eyes, and then you slice them in half.
Exactly. They can hate your actions, but they don't inherently hate Banishers as like some inferior class. They actually look at them as like the saviors of the day, the ghost hunters.
But in terms of like lifting curses and stuff, it does sound very witchery.
It is. It's very, very witchery. I would say, that's one of the big differences is you're actually kind of respected in like some ways, which is pretty cool. And they're not necessarily portrayed like The Witcher, where like people see The Witcher and they're like, he can wipe out a town. There's no allusion to the fact of like, oh, the Banisher's a badass. It's just someone who's fearless is kind of what it is. They don't particularly say like, that guy is particularly good at combat or whatever. It's just they have the ability to banish people. But there is a small subset of people, usually the people who are like heavily influenced by God in the game, that don't really like Banishers simply because they think it's dark magic. Which I guess in turn kind of is, but spirit haunting you and killing your family, or guy killing spirit.
I don't know. I feel like banishing a spirit to hell is pretty
Christian,
and pretty godly.
Yeah,
that's what he does, man.
I mean, I would say so, right? So, like I said about the combat before, it's a little simple in the beginning, just like God of War 2018. But it picks up as you get abilities and stuff. The only thing I will say is it's a lot easier than God of War. It starts off a little tricky when you're getting the systems down, but the iframes in this game are through the fucking roof. Like, you just hit the dodge button and you automatically dodge anything. Even if it's like a wave attack, like that's 5 feet wide.
That's kind of crazy.
That's like the only thing that I kind of was like,
Does that have difficulty settings?
It has like easy, medium, and hard or whatever. Easy, normal, and hard. I played on normal because I thought it was going to be like a Souls-like God of War sort of thing where I was going to be struggling a little bit. I didn't struggle at all. I think I died twice in the whole playthrough. You can get stun locked, though, I will say. That if you've missed the dodge and you get stun locked, you can get pretty shit on. But combat overall is pretty easier. Pretty much a lot easier than God of War. Now, to what you were saying before, this is what I mostly want to talk about. The haunting cases. They are honestly some of my favorite side content to ever make it into a game that I can think of.
That's bold. It's a bold statement.
These basically play out as story chapters where you investigate and uncover clues about specific people or a person who is haunted. Now, the actual investigation part of it, I will admit, leaves a lot to be desired. When the game was first shown, people thought it was going to be like L.A. Noire, where you're kind of freely investigating this stuff. It's not. It's super hand-holdy for story reasons, but the actual story of each investigation are so fucking clever. The way that they, first of all, present these characters, but also, more importantly, tie them into the main plot, is honestly something I can't really think I've seen in a while, besides maybe in like a God of War.
So these are all like optional side. It's all optional side content.
To my knowledge, completely optional. They play into your ending, but I don't think you have to do them. I did them all because I basically 100%ed all this content, but yeah, to my knowledge, completely optional.
I like that it plays into the ending, whereas like I feel like most RPGs or a lot of RPGs, the side content serves a purpose of just getting you cool stuff. Like it just gives you stuff rather than I guess some things like if there's a side story, like a quest line, like when you find like you do like Pan Am's quest line and
Cyberpunk, yeah,
that influences what endings.
It influences what you can do,
but still, normally like side quests are just here's some shit, here's some cool shit.
Yeah, but that's the big thing for me, dude. Is like at first you almost do feel disconnected in a way, like the first few haunting cases, you're left pretty much just as blind as Red and Antaea's Ghost, where like you're just at first you're like, yeah, I mean, I'm just helping people who are haunted, and then as the plot progresses and you learn of the main specter, trying not to spoil it, but the main specter, once you learn of their motive, it all starts to go like, oh, okay, so this person, okay, got it. And it all ties in so cleverly. And it's funny because I realized it at like the exact same time as the character, because at one point there's like a little dialogue, not really spoiling anything, there's just a little dialogue between Red and Antaea's Ghost where he just goes like, yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, this curse, these fucking people brought it on themselves. Like, this is kind of their fucking doing. Like,
right,
they're a bunch of pieces of shit. But also, it does tie into the gameplay loop, like I said, with the ending, where, as I mentioned, you banish, you ascend, or you blame the living person. So a banisher is supposed to just banish and ascend. That's all they should be doing. But because of your circumstances, you can actually place a blame ritual on someone, basically harness their essence, and then give it to your ghostly girl and try to bring her back. That's how you get the resurrection ending. That's the ending I got.
Are you locked into a choice, or
no?
Oh, really? You can change your mind.
So
the game?
So that's the thing is, I have an explanation of the endings, not like spoiling them, but like of their tiers, and you'll see what that has to do with.
I see.
It's pretty neat. Like, I think it's pretty good how they did it. So as you're doing these cases, as I mentioned in the last episode when I talked a little bit about the case I was doing at the time, they really do a fantastic job of making you either go, yeah, fuck this guy, or like, oh fuck, who should I pick here? Like, there was plenty of times where I genuinely was like, man, I'm trying to blame as many people as possible to bring her back, but like, I can't blame this old lady. She was locked in a basement by her husband, so I gotta kill the ghost. And then all of a sudden, the next case is like the slave one I told you about, where the whole time I'm like, I'm gonna blame that guy. And then you find out he was a slave, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna keep him around. And then there's ones where there's a girl, and she's haunted by a ghost, and you're like, you're looking for the thread. You're like, I'm gonna blame this bitch. I'm gonna blame her. And like, you just find out that the ghost is totally in the wrong. And then there's other ones that are just straight up, you don't know. You're kind of like taking two sides of the story and comparing them and like, who do I think is at fault here? And you have to decide. And one of the more interesting ones is a woman who just wants to die. She's just like, kill me. And the ghost is like a person she knows who's like, no, don't kill her. Like, let her live.
Fuck it, man. I guess it's your life.
Yeah. Well, so that's what I did. Is she's like, end my suffering, because she lost like her husband, her kids and stuff. She's like, has no purpose, right? And the ghost is like, no, don't kill yourself. You have so much to do. Like, you can rebuild your life. So you can just be like, nah, ghost, go away, and leave her. Or you can end her suffering. I chose to end her suffering because it benefited me and her, in her eyes anyway. And the ghost was kind of just like, you fucking vanishers. Like, and then I was like, yeah, okay, bye, ghost.
Said it like it was a slur.
Yeah, I was like, get out of here, ghost.
I feel like, to be fair, ghosts would hate the guy who kills ghosts.
Yeah, that's kind of fair, you know. Actually. So these cases, yeah, they all sort of just culminate into understanding these characters, their place in the world, and how they all knew each other and what led to the curse in the first place. And it's so well done and so well written. Literally, I have two minor complaints with the game. The first one is about the gameplay loop, where there is, particularly later in the game, some haunting cases, because the map opens up so big by that point, where it's like, oh, a haunting case. I'm going to talk to Kate. Hey, how's it going, Kate? Oh, you're haunted? Let me go talk to fucking Lamentation. Oh, he's on the other side of the map.
Yeah, go 3,700 miles that way and you'll find
And the
him.
whole map is only maybe like 3,000 meters across, but you're on foot the whole time. There's no flying. There's no like climbing over rocks or anything. Like, it's all linear corridors you're going throughout this map.
Oh, it's like you got to stick to the
trail.
Specific path.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, exactly. So I started using the fast travel a lot. The good news is the fast travel is really easy to use and quick, so it's actually fast, so it didn't actually matter too much.
Fair.
I just don't like using fast travel a lot in story games, but I felt the actual, not need, but like desire to. Especially like when I was playing on lunch. Like, I'm not going to run from one end of the map to the next and waste 7 minutes of running.
Right. I will rarely use fast travel, but like, yeah, with things like that, like if I was, even in like Red Dead, if I'm like, oh shit, I got to go from Tumbleweed to Valentine or like to the mountains. Let me fast travel this one. I'm not gonna run 100 million miles.
Yeah, I agree. I can see why. I did that on later playthroughs. I never fast traveled in my first playthrough with Red Dead.
I didn't know you could until like my third playthrough.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I ever. I think I did the test it. I was curious if it had the cool Spider-Man animations that Spider-Man 2018 did, and it didn't. So I just never did it again. I thought like you'd see him like sitting on a stagecoach, like something cool. Yeah, I thought it'd be kind of funny, but yeah, it just loads. But yeah, I mean, listen.
I'm listening.
I honestly think that the last time that I truly got this invested in a fictionalized world to this caliber was probably Red Dead 2. And don't get me wrong, I was pretty into Guardians of the Galaxy. It was actually my game of the year, if you didn't know that.
I've heard.
But I wasn't quite as much into it as I was or am with Banishers. I also think, as I said before, it's one of the best examples of multiple endings done well, and in a reasonable fashion. So you always hear of games with multiple endings, and there's there's no in between usually. There's always super minor differences, right, between them, or there's like 100 different endings, and they all just kind of feel exactly the same, right? And then occasionally you get ones that's like a good and a bad ending, but the good ending is really good, and the bad ending is just like extra bad.
Yeah, the bad ending is like you and all of your friends blow up instantly, and the good ending is all like you get $1 billion trillion and you live happily forever.
Yeah, this game has 3 endings technically. It technically has a good-ish, and then a bad ending. Now the good ending is good. It's emotional. It's impactful. It's not the one I got though. I got the good-ish ending. So, without saying what happens in the ending, the good is ascension, the good-ish is resurrection, and then, to your point earlier, the bad ending is if you break the promise. So if you promise one thing and do the other, you get a fucking terrible ending, but not like a, that's fucking bullshit, and like a, holy shit. Because, Chris, do you remember, and I had to look this up because I only got the good-ish ending, do you remember what I said about the ghost striving off suffering? What would you do if your lover who you were trying to get to save you betrayed you? Would you suffer, perhaps?
Oh yeah. You feed the ghost,
and it's fucking crazy. Like it's a good ending for a game. So the good-ish ending I go, it's a little kind of like what it does is you beat the game and you're like, all right, cool. And I got the resurrection ending, so resurrection, everything seems good. And then it does like a little cutscene to be like, years later in life, this happened, blah, 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 blah. And then it does end like on a little twist at the end of that ending, the resurrection one, that I was kind of like, I didn't need all that. Like that's clearly trying to tell me this wasn't the best thing to do.
I didn't need all that.
Yeah, like it's pretty much like, you shouldn't have done that. In a way, but not in like a super egregious way where it's like I fucking explode at the end of the game.
Right.
Like I was nervous because I was afraid I was gonna do the resurrection ending and I was gonna find out that like in order to save her life you have to give yours. I'm like, oh, that's kind of shitty, but you don't. Like that, the game actually lets you do what it told you was possible. It's just that the time lapse to the future kind of hints at like that might not have been the best thing to do.
Right.
I'm cool with that though. I'm cool with that. The good ending is just also very good in terms of what can happen. And there's 2 little sub-endings to the good ending. It's more about like how your character left emotionally. That's what changes the good and the gooder ending. You either have one where like, yeah, I'll be all right. And then you also have one where it's more like, I'm fucking depressed.
I see.
So, yeah, it does the multiple ending thing really well because I felt like it paid off, And I don't feel that very often. Like, again, to bring it back to a game we always talk about, Red Dead 2. The good ending feels pretty good. The bad ending doesn't feel horrible. I mean, you get got, but like, it's fitting for the world. I guess that's how I'd put it.
Yeah.
It's fitting. It's not like the bad ending. Arthur Morgan's like, I'm gonna get a heart attack and just drops dead. He was a bad man.
The bad ending is like before the end, like the final confrontation. Arthur Morgan falls off his horse and breaks his neck.
Yeah. Or like the bad ending is like Sadie, Charles, John, the children, they all get murdered. Like it's nothing like that. Like
Jack Marston shoots Arthur Morgan with his little 4-year-old hands.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's a reasonably bad ending where it's like, hey, you showed greed, so like that greed cost you your life in a more heinous way.
Yeah, it's like you didn't have that whole ending of like, John, go on. You pass the torch, the whole thing.
And then, rest on the rock face or whatever.
And then you have the confrontation like, Dutch, Mike is a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. So that's closely to like what Banishers does. But man, the nightmare. So you were saying, do they make every ghost seem like something you hate? You actually, the one, like the nightmare, you come to be like, oh, I get it now. I get why you're mad. You still want to ice that bitch.
I kind of fuck with the vision. I'm not gonna lie.
You still want to ice that bitch for sure, but you're like, you're not just like, yeah, fuck you, evil bitch. You're kind of like, man.
So
shit was rough.
It doesn't incentivize you to be like a ghost racist.
No, not at all.
So you kind of feel for the ghosts.
Yeah, you feel for both. You feel for some people, some ghosts. Yeah, it teeters that line very well, like extremely well. Honestly, it genuinely, like, to bring it back to, again, Red Dead, you know how you have, antagonize and what the fuck's the other one called? Greet. I always had a hard time making like the hard decision, the bad decision to get the bad ending, and then like antagonizing. This game is the closest I felt to that since Red Dead 2, where it's like, in my heart of heart, I'm like, I want to bring this bitch back. I gotta kill this innocent person. But after hearing their story and their struggles, and like some of them are like, we just got to this land to save our life because this was happening in our country, and blah 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 blah. I'm like, I can't kill you. I gotta let you live and do your thing, And then other times they flip it on its head where it's like, no, you're clearly a piece of shit. Like, this person deserves to be killed. Sure, I'm doing it for selfish reasons, but hey, whatever.
It is what it is, man.
It is what it is. You sucks to suck, I guess. So, man, if you can't tell, I can't recommend this game enough. It is fantastic. There's plenty of little shortcomings, but if you just set yourself in the mindset of, I'm here for a story, it's not a Rockstar game, it's a AA game, and just look past the little quirks of like how many times do I have to go up to a fucking narrow passage and hit X and watch the character do this across the narrow passage and shit like that.
That's a lot of what God of War does. So.
Exactly. Like,
how many times you gotta walk the Yggdrasil tree or squeeze through a little passage?
Yeah. They do it to hide loading screens, so it is what it is. It's a game design thing.
Is it in the same? I had another thought about the ghosts, in that the game doesn't really push you. Like, the game doesn't push you to hate the ghosts, but is it like a Fallout 4 synth kind of situation where everyone around you is like, these fucking ghosts, ghost bitches?
Generally, people are fearful of the ghosts, so generally they're like, they want the haunting solved. That's why they like the Banishers.
Okay.
And you'll even have people who, like, you can call them out. You can be like, well, you did this, so why should I blame the ghost? You clearly caused this. And they'll be like, but that's your job, just do it. And they want to live, and then I would always kill those motherfuckers instantly.
I don't care, idiot.
Instantly.
Give me your soul.
Like, yeah, like, fetch me their soul.
I was checking a couple minutes ago to see if it was, even though it's so new, I wanted to see if it might have been on sale for the spring sale. It's not. But it's $50.
Yeah, it's not a full price game.
Which is crazy because new games, I don't know if you noticed, $70 nowadays. Yeah. 70 bones for a new game that might not even be good.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy. $50?
Yeah, I'm saying.
No-brainer. I might buy it today. I might buy it today, bro.
I think for $50, it's an incredible experience. If you're skeptical, give it some time, get it maybe 35, 40, whatever it goes to. But, like, man, did not miss with this one. Again, you're going to see shortcomings. It's not the same polish as a Red Dead 2 where, like, I think I've played the game 3 times now, and I don't think I've ever actually encountered anything that was, like, kind of shitty beyond, like, Guarma. Like, everything else in that game is, like, near perfect in my book in terms of what gaming can be. Obviously, things can always get better, but, like, for a game that's, 6 years old now? Yep. Like, that game's as perfect gets for gaming. And I would genuinely say Banishers, for me, is an 8.5 easy. If not a soft 9. Like, easily at 8.5, though. The only shortcomings are, like I said, I kind of wish it had that L.A. Noire. Like, I wish I could fuck up the hauntings. Like, you can't fuck up the hauntings. You can obviously kill innocent people for no reason, but you can't, like, misread a clue and, like, blame someone who wasn't guilty.
Yeah, you hit the blame.
Yeah.
Where there's have you ever seen the clip of like the really jarring blames where there's like the one's like, you like fucking kids or something?
Yeah, I know exactly what case that's from. That's from the constable's car in L.A. Noire because I've played that game. I'm not kidding, probably 8 or 9 times and beat it, and I've 100%ed it like twice. Like I fucking love that game.
We got the detective over here,
Detective Dookie over here, report for duty,
Detective Dumbass over here.
But yeah, that's always funny because that game, for its time, was super advanced with that, but it was always funny being like, yeah, so you said you saw her before she died? Yeah, no, I just saw her.
You killed her, though.
You fucking killed her. I'm gonna fucking eat your babies.
You hit the blame button, you just snapped the guy's neck.
Dude, and it was always so jarring. Oh, man, I love L.A. Noire. They need to make a sequel, please. Please.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Like if it has gameplay and story, that's an element for like a really good game. That's why I put God of War Ragnarok above Red Dead 2.
Because the gameplay's
Because
better.
it's gameplay and story. The only reason I'm saying God of War Ragnarok is not a 10 is because, spoiler, hang on, is because of that one like 3-hour long Atreus mission where you go to fucking Ironwood.
I was gonna say, I almost said Flamewood.
That sucked.
I would say for games that do stuff like that, it was probably one of the best ones to do it, but it still sucked.
For the sake of story, it's great for the first playthrough, but it's a second playthrough killer, in my opinion.
I didn't even think of that.
I haven't done my second playthrough yet, so I don't know how I feel, but it's definitely a second playthrough killer in the same way Gwarma's a second playthrough killer.
Yeah, it's funny you said that because I stopped my last playthrough just before
I stopped
Gwarma.
like right before Gwarma too.
Yeah, me too. And it wasn't even necessarily consciously for that reason. It just so happened that I was like, and it probably is subconsciously because I'm like, I know what's coming next.
I will say God of War 2018 doesn't have a lot of. I don't think it has really many second playthrough killers upon playing it a second or actually a third time recently. Like the only thing I can think of is the time you're trying to get up the mountain when you have to do and you're in the little cave and you have to set up the winch to bring you up the mountain. That part is like kind of drags on a bit longer than it should, but it just doesn't have. It's a lot tighter of a game, whereas like
it's a lot shorter too.
Ragnarok is longer and Red Dead 2. So I would. Anyway, that's just me.
Yeah, Banishers. I'm gonna end on this note. Banishers was so good that number one, I started replaying Vampire a little bit just to like get a feel for it, see if I like it better now than I did then because of the fact that it heavily inspired Banishers. So I started replaying Vampire, but then I was like, I was missing something in my life. I just needed time to like reflect and detox on this game. So I started my platinum playthrough of Spider-Man on PS5.
Spider-Man 1?
Yeah.
I'm still going to play 2, man.
I have all the achievements. I'm missing 2. I need to beat the game on New Game Plus and on Ultimate Difficulty, which I'm currently doing. I'm up to the part where I'm about to meet Black Cat for the first time, and I did that all last night. So I'm going to blitz through this, and when I blitz through it, I'll get those 2 trophies, which will then unlock the platinum. So I'm fucking excited. And then I want to do that eventually with Miles Morales when I have some energy, and then I need to go back to 2. Because I have some mixed feelings on 2, in retrospect.
Really?
In retrospect, yeah.
I would play 2 for the first time.
You should play it so that way we can talk about it. Because I would like to go into that retrospect, but I don't want to do it without spoiling.
Perchance.
So you should play it at some point.
If you're gonna go back and replay it, let me know. Then I'll play it.
All right, yeah, cool.
Because I want to try this. I want to try out Banisher. I want to try this game now.
Yeah. I hope you like it. Like, I hope it doesn't fall on its face for you. It could be right place, right time for me. But like, dude, I said this last episode. How many games have you seen me put 45 and a half hours in and not complain about?
Not many.
Like, I'm genuinely in love with this game where I'm this close. I'm this close to saying, you know what? I'm going to treat myself and buy the $200 collector's edition with the statue.
Damn.
I'm so close to doing it. Like, fuck, I love this game.
Dude,
so much.
high school Jordan would have been had that.
I would have had like 3 of them by now.
You would have had 25. You would have had like... You would have ordered a custom PS4. You would have called Sony, been like, hey, make a custom PS4 that I'm going to pay you $800 million for. Yeah. And they go, okay, perfect. And they spray paint a little Banisher on there.
Yeah, this is... Yeah, I will say this confidently now. I was hoping they had New Game Plus. That's my only big disappointment. I was about to do New Game Plus, blitz the story, and see the other endings. But once I saw they didn't have it, I just looked up the endings.
Don't nod. Add New Game Plus.
If they added it, we'll get another playthrough from me easily. But
Add New Game Plus.
That's like my only big thing with it. But I wish it had New Game Plus. That'd be sick. I hope it does well for them. Vampire did well for them. That's why this game got greenlit. So I really hope this does well for them. And honestly, like, this is one of those things where I think the premise, the series, like, just the presentation of it is enough on its own that you could easily make more games without those 2 characters. And
in the same, like, universe.
In the same world and make it just as good.
It'd be like a GTA type thing.
Yeah.
Where there's nods to the previous games, but it's not like... You're not, like, playing as Trevor and you're like, hey, Nico Bellic, how you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like in The Witcher, like you have like Vesemir who's training Witchers. They obviously go through like mutations, but in this game there is like Banishers that train other Banishers. So there could very easily be like this is Red McWraith. He's the Banisher that did this in New Eden. He's famous for this or whatever, and that's it.
He's the Banisher of Blaviken.
Yeah, there you go. And then you could have new characters. But man, it's a good game. It's a good time. I struggle to find anything I didn't enjoy. Even just the going from point A to point B. Like, the music is good. The environments are fucking beautiful. Oh, and needs to be out there. This needs to be in the ethos. This has to be the best optimized and released game within the last year. For multi-platform.
Really?
Multi-platform.
For multi-platform.
Spider-Man 2, obviously, God of War, but whatever. But multi-platform, I don't know if I've seen a better optimized game where I could run both on Steam Deck, no problem, and on my PC, literally no problem.
That's a tall fucking order these days, man.
Yeah, very well optimized. Literally, the only lag I ever saw was getting to new areas. Like, there's certain areas where you go through those little shimmy things, and on Steam Deck specifically, it would be like, and then I'd be fine, and that was it. Totally good. PC, I didn't even notice it.
It's how like every
it's just how it's assembled.
Game is.
It's the nature of the game.
That's pretty neat. I like to see a double A game winning, you know?
Yeah, this game is fucking... Yeah, I just can't. Like, it got so many points right off the bat when I first ever launched it, and it was like, oh, it works on Steam Deck, and it runs really well. Like, damn. And that I already had so much... I had high hopes. Then I saw that it ran on Steam Deck, and I was like, this game better be monumental. And it delivered in every way, which is why...
The Steam Deck is where Jordan's like, a Steam Deck? That's a 10 in my opinion.
That's actually the only reason this game sucks. No, I fucking love it. So good.
Maybe in the next one I'll have an update where I play it.
Yeah, I hope you do. Get that prologue will be pretty interesting. And then the first arc, like the first chapter, so to speak. They don't chapter it, but it's the first like maybe 3 quests. Is going to be a little world buildy, and then from there it starts to all be like, And don't sleep on those haunting cases, man. They are some of the best side content I have ever done. Like,
I will banish so many spirits to hell.
Chris, the camera died. Oh no.
The camera's out of battery, Jordan. Fuck, we're gonna die.
Luckily, it's plugged in.
Dude, we're prepared. Look at us.
Couple of preparers.
Camera's plugged in. If it wasn't, we would be gone right now.
Eviscerated.
You know what they say? Semper
We'd be
paratus.
banished.
Semper paratus. Always prepared, like the Coast Guard. Okay? Semper paratus. Plug that camera in.
Yeah. But that's all I got.
Yeah, I think that's going to do it for us today.
Try and cut it down a bit. We had a lot of pre-show stuff that just will probably not make it, depending on what it was. So
we have a lot of pharmaceutical executives trying to appeal to Gen Z talk.
Oh no, those will probably make it. That was gold. That was. I'm more so thinking of before when we were like, why is the Audacity volume so low?
Oh, I've deleted that audio.
Oh, okay.
So,
What?
All right. Well, Jordan.
What?
Remind the people. Where do we put this dang thing?
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, Pocket Cast, and the RSS feed, all linked below. YouTube and Spotify have the video platforms. And as always, you can contact us via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Send us your comments, questions, concerns, death threats, and most important, Little Kitty Bid City hype, news merch, etc., etc. And Instagram, TikTok. You'll probably find some of the shorts from this episode there, actually.
Perhaps
some
and
pharmaceuticals.
if you badger me and pester me enough, I might publicly release my scrapey script, so you can scrape only our RSS feed. It's closed source. You can't edit it. You can only scrape our RSS feed.
So get scraping.
Get scraping. Only if you ask me enough, because then I have to fix the script to make it work like with everyone.
Yeah.
Closed source though. You don't get any. You don't get a. You don't.
It'll work with everyone, but
you don't get to peek on my source code at all. You don't get to look.
Yeah, no.
You get to look because you're gonna judge me. You're gonna say this guy doesn't know how to code.
Okay, bye.
Okay, goodbye. Sorry, I'm tweaking right now.
I could tell.
Just give me a minute here. Just give me a second here. Just give me a second here. Just hang
Clearly,
on.
the makeup artist that we pay professionally did a pretty good job today. You know what I'm saying?
I put on makeup. Not a girl, dude. I put on friggin' makeup, dude. I put on friggin' makeup, man. That's gay.
I don't know why that like specific tone and impersonation you do so well. It's like you've done it before, for real. Like,
I'm honestly, I feel like I'm doing an impression of like myself if I was worse.
yeah, that's probably what it is. Yeah.
If I was a worse human, that's what I would sound like all the time.